What up? It is the Go for Broke podcast, and we are going to dive into what we added from the portal. We'll get a little refresh there, what we lost from the portal. We are also going to talk about Drake Lindsey because QB1 is back, and we are excited to see what is going to happen with him. And we're going to talk a whole lot more here at the Go for Broke podcast. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show, hit subscribe, tell your friends about the show, and let's go. What is up? You are listening to the Go for Broke podcast. It is Kane, Rob, and Tristyn Spann-Ford coming at you once a week, every week, talking gold and Gophers football. We are in the off swing, but look, we are here for a good time, not a long time. That means we're going to talk about whatever we want in this off season. Today, we're going to get into some things like Gophers coaching changes, portal outs, recap on the portal, freshmen that'll be early enrolling, position battles to keep an eye on in the spring, and everybody's favorite quarterback in the maroon and gold with Drake Lindsey. But before we dive into all those things, and of course, we'll talk about that natty that's going to be coming up here soon. But before we dive into it all, Tristyn Spann-Ford, I got to ask you, do you got a gripe for me this week?
I'm going to be honest. I've had a great week. Today was my last day of work before maternity leave. I am feeling good. Not a care in the world. Although we are going on our annual trip to Vegas this year, and I have not packed a single thing, and we leave so early in the morning. So at some point, my bag is open, and I'm hoping it just packs itself if I leave it open long enough.
I don't think that's how it works.
That or my wife will help me.
Hey, I know you're gonna be up till like 1 a.m. doing it because them kids gonna keep you up till about 11 or so. Then right when you think you're ready to pack, all of a sudden one of them's gonna wake up and it's gonna be last second. And then right when you start packing, your wife's gonna fall asleep. So then it's all you, and then you forget. And then I know how it goes, man. I know how it goes.
It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. I hate packing. I just don't. It'd be better off just getting there and just buying new stuff. I'll just buy stuff when I get there.
Hey, you are not too far off on that one, but we got a whole lot of Gophers to talk today, so we can jump right in it. First, I want to talk about...
We do have to have a moment. Rest in peace to your Packers. We haven't seen you since then. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I'm not sorry about it at all.
Hey, normally I would say at least we got to the dance, but not after how they performed in that one. We should still be going. I am not ready to talk about it, so we're just gonna plow right through this.
I was like, I got a trip, and then I was like, wait, the Vikes, the Cowboys, nobody made it to the playoffs. None of my teams made it.
You've been hurt, generationally hurt, so I ain't even gonna ask you about that.
Oh, year from hell. It was a year from hell for you guys.
It ain't a year. It ain't a year, my brother. It is generationally hurt when you are a Viking fan, and now by trade, a Cowboys fan with your brother out there as well. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm a glutton for pain. What can I say?
My fingers are crossed that your brother gets a whopping offer from somewhere else to leave, and it can be somewhere where it's a winning organization, so you can have something to cheer for, my boy.
I would love it. Although it would take a hit. I got a lot of Cowboys clothes now. And I don't even wear them out and about because I don't want to be rocking Cowboys stuff. They just be at the home. I'm just wearing them in my home.
Hey, you know what? Ain't nothing wrong with that. It'll always be the place that gave him a shot, or it'll be the place he's staying. I'm excited to see what happens, but I'm excited for him too. I know that there's probably a lot of different things to go into that decision, but we'll get there. I'm sure we'll get to that talk as the NFL offseason goes off. But let's talk about the coaching updates because I need to get away from this Packer talk before I start weeping again. No. So we're talking about the coaching updates. The Gophers coaching stat, or the Twitter, the admin threw up all of their coaching changes, officially released. The SID for the Gophers sent out a press release as well to the Gophers media. So we got some info on that. But overall, defensive line coach is now CJ Robbins. He has been with the program, working last year with Dennis Don Carter. So he's stepping up to that defensive line helm as a whole. Looking forward to seeing what he can do there, but it seems like a lot of the guys really like him that have built a relationship up with him. Bobby April III. Now, this is a dude who is coming in as the rush ends coach. He has previously coached for Wisconsin and worked with a number of different guys that made it to the league, a number of different guys. Like, I believe he worked with TJ Watt. I don't think it was JJ Watt. I could be wrong on one of those. But he definitely worked with Andrew Van Ginkel. He worked with Zach Bond. I mean, he's worked with a number of players that have gone on to be NFL big time producers, not just NFL players that made it to the league, but they go on to do some big things. So I'm really excited by that, because right now in our rush ends room, I mean, you've got Carter Menz,
Yep.
Jackson Howard is in the fold there, and it sounds like TJ Bush Jr. could go both on the stand-up end and the rush end, so he could get a little bit of both flavors there. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Bobby April brings into the fold. Special teams coordinator, you've heard us talk about it time and time again here, but Daniel DePrado coming from New Mexico. We've got wide receivers coach. I'm going to say it wrong, and Gophers fans are going to get mad at me because he's a former player, but we will get it right eventually. I promise.
I bet you'll nail it first try.
I highly doubt that, but it's Isaac Frekty. We'll get there. Coach,
Sounded right.
I've seen you liking the tweets. I appreciate the love, and I promise I will return the favor in getting your name correct as we get going here. Running backs coach Mo Ibrahim. We've got assistant D-line coach Travis Moore. We've got senior defensive defensive assistant Brian Nardo. He is a former defensive coordinator this past year with Oklahoma State. I should mention Bobby April was a defensive coordinator with Stanford. And then we've got Matt Limegrover, who worked with the coach Kill staff. He was the offensive coordinator. He was an O-line coach. He is going to be the assistant offensive line coach. And then we've got an offensive line assistant with Caleb Richardson. So we've got 3 coaches that are all dedicated to this O-line. If that doesn't tell you what the Gophers are focusing on this offseason, I don't know how else to scream that to you in the face without you getting it. And then on top of that, like I had mentioned, 2 different coaches coming in for different position coaches, but having defensive coordinator experience. So we've got a lot of different opinions to be given, thoughts to be shared, a lot of different ideas to go through this offseason within this coaching staff, and that excites me. But what are your thoughts, Tristyn, with all these coaching updates?
No, it is exciting, and yeah, the offensive line coach that they brought back, who was with Kill before, was kind of the name that popped out. That's kind of awesome. So just to see what they're investing in this O-line, it's just going to be night and day difference if we get a full year of productivity from the O-line. It's just crazy what it's going to do for the offense. So that's super exciting. I will say my time could be short on this podcast because Mo told me that I talked to him on the phone yesterday, and he said as soon as you get through my huddle tape, might have a spot for me. I told him I got eligibility left. So look, just so you know, I just want to let you know.
The Gophers used to have a kicker that did a podcast with somebody else way out like a couple years back. So you're locked in. You're locked in.
That's cool.
Actually,
no, I can do both.
Ohio State safety Caleb Downs, the one who everybody's talking about for the draft now, did a podcast all season with his brother. So we're good. You're locked in.
I love that. I want to do the lives after the game still. I'll do it from the locker room. Add
it up and everything. Yep.
No, it's just exciting. I think it's I think the fact that there's so many changes shows that, I mean, there's obviously changes, and that's good that there's not a lot of complacency happening, hopefully, on the coaching staff, that PJ acknowledges, like, hey, like, things got to get better. So I think changes, equals progress, hopefully.
Yeah, 2 things that really stand out for me, I think, is the one, bringing in Bobby April III, coming from a rival program. Now, obviously, there was time between those, but like, I feel like that, we know PJ likes to go with people he's had ties with and things like that. A lot of these additions break that mold. You see this Bobby April the third, and I get excited about it because, again, rival program, different ideas, different thoughts, and what have you. Also a defensive coordinator mindset too. So he brings in his own learnings and findings. But then you go and look at Lime Grover as well, who is coming from that kill staff. And when we first headed in here, especially a couple of years ago, my first year covering the team with Locked On, Kill was at New Mexico State and he played the Gophers, and there was no love lost. Like, there was a little tension, there's a little awkwardness. Then both coaches showed respect after the game. Coach Fleck gave a lot of love to Coach Kill in the presser afterwards. But ahead of that, there was a lot of like, oh yeah, Kill doesn't like Fleck. Fleck doesn't care about Kill, like all that stuff. But then you bring someone who wasn't just on that staff, but was an integral part of that staff into your own staff. I think that shows a lot of growth and potential to think outside of your normal box now. Because like we've said, he's loved to have connections with his coaches. Like Simon was here for a long time, Harbaugh, Rossi, Collins, Callahan, like all these dudes have been with Fleck for years and years and years. But now all of a sudden he's bringing in people that weren't necessarily a part of the fold. And I think that is promising for Gophers fans, because we've seen the Gophers have kind of found their groove and they've been in that 7 to 9 win range in these years. I think this is the next step you have to take to get to a 9 to double digit win seasons more consistently, is bringing in people that are going to bring you conflicting ideas or challenge your thought process or push you to go further. And so I'm really excited by these.
Yeah, it definitely says a lot. It shows PJ kind of getting out of his comfort zone a little bit and bringing in these guys that he's not so used to. Because yeah, you're right. Like those coaches, like a lot of those coaches, like you talk about Simon, they were with him all the way through, like since he got there. So I think it does show a lot of progress, and it bodes. It makes me excited for what this year brings.
All right, so I am getting word from Google that the wide receivers coach is pronounced Frickty. Frickty, and it says rhymes with picky and sticky, but Frickty. We'll get there. We'll continue to vet it out, but apologies on the first try. But yeah, excited about it, especially on the offensive line, because one thing we got to talk about there too is we're bringing back 4 guys that have starting snaps or starting experience under their belt. Tony Nelson, obviously less than the other 3 of them being guys who have started for an entire season now. So you bring in another 2 pairs of offensive line expertise and thoughts and different things to work with them. And if all these guys can take steps, and then you talk about some of the additions to the portal, and you talk about some of the young guys that are coming in the new class, and you talk about some of the young guys that are already on the team that we've mentioned on the show multiple times, like, even though they have those starting experience, I'm hoping that this pushes everybody to go out there and get it this spring and challenge for spots and be like, don't let those top 3 guys, 4 guys feel comfortable. Be like, no, I'm coming. I'm coming to be a starter. Look, it ain't who built up rapport with Callahan anymore. We got 3 different guys that we're all going to learn from, all going to grow from. So I'm hoping this will help elevate the entire O-line as we go.
Yeah, I agree. Pressure makes diamonds. I think that's exactly the type of culture that you want in this room going into the season.
Yes. All right, now let's flip the script. We're going to talk about some of the transfer portal outs before we talk about the new additions. So we did have, I believe, 21 players hit the portal and head out of Dinkytown. Now, of course, right when I go to pull it up on 247 Sports, they decided they needed to go full screen video on me, and I do not care about this video. So outgoing transfers, a lot of them have started to find homes now. Jalen Bowden is going to ECU. We knew this. Stephen Curtis is going to North Texas. Khalid Tafai is going to Cal. Look, I want to apologize to Cal fans because y'all been doing a whole lot of good things in this portal, but I'm telling you, I think this one is probably a donation. Washington felt that donation.
You hate this man.
Donation, and I am just like, I'm sorry, fam. I'm sorry. Like, y'all been making smart moves over there in Cal Berkeley, but this one, I don't think it was it. All right, who else we got? We got our boys Quan Bryant going to USF, and look, USF has been pulling in a number of dudes. They got some former 5 stars coming in, a couple guys from Ohio State following Heartline from Ohio State. Jeremiah Smith just tweeted out or said recently, like, all the good players are going to USF. Like, look, Daquan might be a part of the team that leads the trend over there and making a change in USF. So that's kind of cool to see. You got Malachi Coleman. Look, dog. What is Malachi Coleman doing?
I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand any of it.
If people are like, wait, what happened with Malachi Coleman? Malachi Coleman decided, let's go to Wisconsin. Let's go to Wisconsin. And the biggest questions I've got there are, first off, like, you were probably on a fast track to get a starting position here. It wasn't going to be given, but like, you had the system, a year in the system. You had been getting snaps, and it was snaps, and it was ticking up. And then you're like, nah, it's time for me to go, just like you did with Nebraska. So that's 2 different times now that he's done that, which is already questionable in its own right. And then you go to Wisconsin, who, if anybody had a worse passing offense last season than Minnesota in the Big Ten Conference, I promise you it was Wisconsin. So I don't know what's happening with this one, but that was your boy. So what are you doing? How are you claiming him now? You claiming him still?
I hope nothing but success for everybody, but I don't understand it. Like, even it's not even the Wisconsin thing, which I think is insane for anyone who want to go there anyway. But if I don't understand the offense that you're going to, like, you're not going to get more opportunities, or is he thinking like there's no other receivers there, so I'll play a lot? But even if you play a lot, doesn't mean you're going to be productive in that offense. I don't understand it either, especially like coming from Nebraska. Like, I don't know, Minnesota to Nebraska, obviously that's kind of like, they're right there. That's a year-to-year basis. Wisconsin is down right now. So I don't know, unless you're thinking they're going to be up next year, but I don't see any signs of that necessarily. So
I think we might be riding that donation line like we were with Tafai.
Yep.
Like, I'm sorry, I apologize. Both of y'all, I hope you have great careers, but I'm just not seeing it. And if we see Malachi Coleman to Iowa next year, I won't be shocked. He's making the tour.
Just going to bounce around the Big Ten. Get all the Big Ten West.
But then next up, we got Fama Ijiboy. This one threw me off a little bit too, but obviously he is looking for some RB1 type load. So he's going to Purdue in conference, worst team in the entire Big Ten. So kind of a step down there, but he's not going to be a number 2 fighting for carries. He is going to be the dude out there in Purdue. I am more than sure of that. So, I mean, good luck to you. I think we actually do play Purdue. We talked about the schedule last week. I think we do play Purdue next season, so we'll get to see Fama Ijiboy.
I think we do. That was a couple weeks ago, but I think we do too. But yeah, I mean, it's a basketball school, and that's fine. So, I mean, good for him. He will get a ton of carries, and he is a dog, so he's probably going to do great there. A lot of numbers.
Yes. Other than that, there's a bunch of guys that are going to lower programs to get time, and I totally understand it. Reese Tripp heading to Middle Tennessee, Trey Berry heading to Tennessee State. You've got Harrison Brunn and Ethan Carrier both going to South Dakota. Caleb McGrath going to North Dakota State. Legend Lions going to Montana Grizzlies. But the last 2 power transfers, one, I am mad, proud, go get it. Kenrick Lanier is going to Missouri. I think he's going to get an opportunity, but Missouri is not a program to look down at one bit. Like, they've been on the come up over there, especially with Drinkwitz at the head coach. So best of luck to Kenrick Lanier. And then the last one, of course, had to save the best and the worst as far as how it hurt for last. Coy Parrots is headed to Oregon. What are your thoughts, Tristyn, knowing the landing spot? It's in the Big Ten. How are you feeling?
I think we should rip him to pieces right now on the show. Let's just do it. Let's do it. No, I think that it's exciting. I mean, it sucks that he's not here. Big players on big stages, though, is what you want to see. So I hope that he kind of, I don't want to say reverts, goes back to how he played last year, has a monster season. I hope nothing but the best for him. And here's the thing. What an opportunity for us to play against Coy in the Big Ten Championship next year. Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah, it would have to be in the Big Ten Championship because We do not play Oregon in the next 2 years, so if Coy does somehow return to the fourth year, we still wouldn't have him on the regular season schedule. The
Nope.
only way the Gophers can play the Oregon Ducks is in a Big Ten championship or in a playoff. So we'll
See
see
you
what
next year,
happens
Coy.
there.
See you next year.
Here's my thing. There are so many Gophers fans that are still ripping this kid to pieces, and I'm just like, look, we then know the landing spot now, right? It's Oregon. There are so many Gophers fans out there in the universe that are diehard Bucky fans and swear by Bucky Irving, and they're like, I love this guy. I wish he would have stayed here, but he's awesome. I'm glad we had time with him, and I love to cheer him on in the NFL. You literally can't, like, if you go the opposite way and hate this kid, you're a hypocrite. Like, he literally is going to the same school with the same big money opportunities, with the same big level of play opportunities. The only difference, the one difference in this entire thing is that he was born and his mother gave birth in the state of Minnesota. Like, and that wasn't his choice. So, I mean, yes, it's awesome that he came to Minnesota in the first place, and I was very thankful for that, and it's great to see. He stayed in Minnesota after a massive year, gave us 2 years, but decided it wasn't the right fit. I have talked to a couple people that have had conversations with Coy, and I know that he has mentioned like he feels for it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't want to see Minnesota down bad, but he's got to do what he's got to do for him and his family and his future and all of that. So look, I'm going to support him. I'm hoping Gophers fans, after you get some time to mend and heal, can go back to the way you feel about Bucky, the same way you feel about Coy. But I got nothing but respect, and I appreciate what he did here. And now Gophers, go out there and have a chip on your shoulder and go try to meet him in the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I'm not. I mean, there's very few circumstances where I would ever care that much about a player deciding to go to a different school for, albeit be it financial reasons or family reasons or whatever the reason is. I mean, it's just a Minnesota Gopher fan. It's just Gopher fans. We overreact. We like to overreact to things. It's fine.
No, there was one fan that commented when I said that he was transferring to Oregon on Twitter. They commented and just put ACL, and I was like, absolutely not. We do not do that here. We do not condone any of that bullshit here. Pardon my friend for our older listeners that don't appreciate it, but we ain't wishing that on nobody. So I did not like that one bit.
Yeah, there was people going absolutely insane. There were a couple like admin Gopher accounts, like not admin, but what are you called? I don't know what they're called, but like Gopher accounts that were just going in on them. I'm like, okay, this is like, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. Yeah. Just move on. Like it's college football. Like, this is gonna happen now.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're moving on. We're going past it. So overall, that is all the transfers out. Now we're going to talk about the transfers in. Now, we went in detail with the transfers in last week, so we're not going to redo all of that. But I do want to talk about some of the newer additions we didn't mention, and then I just want to talk about players that you are excited about from this class. Now, we have 19 players coming in from the transfer portal, so that's kind of cool. The newer names that we didn't mention last time, we got Noah Jennings, who is a wide receiver coming in from Cincinnati. Sid Kaba, who we mentioned on the show last week, did officially commit, and he is coming in as a defensive tackle. We also have Zion Chapman, another defensive tackle. 247 Sports gives him a 4-star transfer portal rating, so he is the second highest or the number one of the two in this portal class for the Gophers when it comes to the rankings themselves. So, I mean, you like to see those type of things. You don't hate it overall. And then when guys are rated lower, you're like, oh, we don't care about the ratings. So whichever team you want to be on right now, we like that rating. He's actually the highest Gopher in the portal, the highest portal get for the Gophers. TJ Thomas is a running back from Elon. He is coming in as well, 5'8", 190. So he might need to bulk up a little bit. Got to put some weight on the bone.
Yep.
And then we've got Zion Steptoe, who is a receiver from Tulsa, and he is coming in for the Gophers as well. I think those are all of the newest additions since the last time we talked. Now, of those or of some of the others you know about, Tristyn, who's got you excited from this portal class after it's all kind of said and done? And just to clarify for the listeners, too, as we're recording this on Friday the 16th. The portal is officially closed to new entries. So there will be no more Gophers hitting the portal that can be eligible for next year. But we can still claim players who are out there on the portal right now. And the only caveat to players going in the portal still are on the 2 national championship teams. They will have a 5-day window upon the conclusion of the national championship. So by January 24th, no more names can go into the portal after that, and it would only be additions from this point moving forward through to the fall camp. There is no second window, so we will know who is on this roster moving forward.
Yeah. Of these new groups, first of all, I love that we went back to back on Zions this week. It was awesome.
Both spelled different though. Both spelled different.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, but let's just collect all the Zions out of the portal. Take them all out of the portal, and we'll take them all.
Does Zion Williamson want to come? Because he's big. He's big enough to play.
We get him on the line. Yep. No, I mean, speaking of one of the Zion Chapman. I mean, as you know, I'm not a big film guy, but as far as like the rankings and stuff, that is kind of exciting, 4-star guy, and it's in a position of great need for this team. So I think it would be awesome if he came in and made a difference right away. We talked about Parker Knutson last weekend. Obviously, we might be a Parker Knutson podcast. We're still figuring that out. Yeah, I mean, it's tough for me with the transfer portal just because they're just names on the paper until we get to spring ball, and then you tell me who's popping out a little bit. So I'm excited, though. I feel like they did a good job of getting needs. So if we can get some productivity out of these guys, like I think we might be sitting nicely.
Yeah, I'm with you. And speaking of the needs, we've talked about all offseason already that defensive tackle is huge because our top 4 guys that played snaps at D tackle are all gone. They are leaving behind 1,400 snaps at the defensive tackle position between those 4 players alone. So we need some D tackle help. And regardless if some of the young guys step up, we still needed more bodies in there. So I'm excited by the Crowder ad. I'm excited by the Kaba ad. I'm excited by the Chapman ad. And they all bring different strengths, which is really cool to see. They're not all the same player that you're just hoping one of them hits. Like Zion Chapman is the type of interior player that plays and is effective with a pass rush from the interior. And he gives a lot of pressure from the inside and has the ability to create pressure and create sacks from the inside. So you love to see that. I'm thinking like, I'm not calling the kid Aaron Donald, but thinking of that type of role where it's like Aaron Donald, he was a D tackle, but he was a menace with creating pressure. That's the type of role or type of player that you think of when you're thinking of Chapman. Not at that caliber, but you get what I'm going with it. Okay. Whereas when you talk about Naquan Crowder and even Sid Kaba, both of those guys are more of your interior, create a car wreck, run stuffing type big guys that eat up a lot of space and make it hard for the offensive line to get to where they want to when it comes to blocking, that take up 2 bodies so that way a Zion Chapman can eat on the interior and push them outside and have Anthony Smith coming from the outside and making a quarterback's life a living hell. That is what you like to see, is the strengths are in different areas for each of these players, and that makes me extremely excited about these defensive line ads. I know somebody had asked me initially, Sid Kaba, like he's the 370th according to 247 when it comes to defensive linemen. Like, stop taking that as the gospel.
Yep.
You can't take 247 on 3 ESPN, whatever your preference is. You can't take it as the gospel because, like, again, a lot of them make tweaks after the fact, sometimes years after the fact. And like, I remember seeing Tyler Nubin rated as a like low 3-star guy at one point. Then all of a sudden he was a high 4-star after his senior year. And I'm like, how did you change his high school rating 4 years later? Or Darius Taylor was a 4-star, and now you look and he's a 3-star. It's like they changed things retroactively, and you can't take it as gospel, long story short. Now I'm looking right now because remember, I said the fans were saying he's 370th D lineman in the portal, blah, blah, blah. He is now a 3-star transfer portal rated prospect, which means he is no longer the 370th. In fact, I'm going to click on his name and see if we can see where he ended up finishing at. They've moved him to the 19th D lineman in the entire transfer portal. So, like, again, Don't be stressing on these things. Look at what they did on the field. Go look at how they're not necessarily that PFF is the gospel either, but look at where they had successes in their gradings to see where their strengths are overall. So, like a Chapman was really good on that interior pressure or the pass rush. Kaba and Crowder were both elite when it came to run defense. So, overall, I love those guys and what they bring to this team.
No, yeah, I agree with you. None of the rankings really mean anything to me unless it's PFF. Like we always say, if PFF has a really good score on one of our guys, we love PFF. But as soon as they have a bad score, PFF doesn't mean anything.
JJ Watt said PFF is dog doo doo. That's what we bring up when it's a bad score. When it's a good
Unless,
score, we're like, dog, PFF says this.
yep, check it out.
Otherwise, I'm excited. We brought in 3 different receivers. Hopefully, one of them can pop off. 2 of them can pop off.
Would
And
be
then
great.
you still got Javon Tracy, big fan. Jalen Smith, big fan. So if 1 or 2 of these guys can add to it, I'm excited. Bradley Martino, 4-star guy from last year, could make his name into the case as well. So I'm excited by that. I think outside of all that, names we talked about last week that we're excited about, Perry Thompson, definitely wide receiver. Aiden West, cornerback, happy about it. Mekhi Smith, I think it was, safety, maybe taking that Coy spot, but who knows? They got a lot of depth at the safety room. My favorite ad, outside of the D tackles, because I just showed a ton of love for the D tackles. That's probably my favorite ads in the entire class.
I agree. That's what I was thinking too.
My favorite ad outside of the D tackles, though, is TJ Bush Jr. I think this dude makes it so you cannot breathe when it comes to our D line. If those D tackles even just eat up the run game and stuff the lanes in the middle, you're talking about Anthony Smith is coming on you. Carter Menz is coming on you. Then all of a sudden, Anthony Smith needs a breather. TJ Bush is coming on you. Actually, you know what? Next snap, Anthony Smith is feeling good. Put Anthony Smith back on the field. Move TJ Bush to the rush end side. We're sending both of them at you. Then all of a sudden, TJ Bush comes off. Jackson Howard's coming at you again. Like, you can't take a breather with this D line that they're starting to build up, and that is what has me so excited for this team.
No, we have dudes on this D line, and I think they're all going to get snaps, especially going into next year. Like that D line, like you just described, they're all going to rotate in, and it might be a problem.
Yep. But we need the secondary to step up and show it. So we'll see what happens, because if the secondary can just cover even just for a little bit, then this D line's going to eat. So those are kind of the portal ads and things I'm excited about as we head into the year. If you want more details on some of those other names we didn't bring up today, check out last week's podcast. We do this once a week, every week, and you can be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of the details. But let's move on to our next topic here, which is going to be position battles to keep an eye on. But before I necessarily bring that up, I do want to bring up the Gophers recruiting in general and let you know who is coming, or who is already here, I guess, for the early enrollees when it comes to your Minnesota Gophers. So it looks like, I think it'll be, let me double check here quick before we. Ooh, that might have thrown me off. I might have to come back and let y'all know that, because it doesn't look like they've separated it there yet, but I know where to find it. So we'll get there in a second. Let's talk about position battles. Tristyn, what are some of the biggest battles, in your opinion, heading into the spring? Let's talk about offense first. What do you think are the 3 positions, or 2 or 3 positions, that are going to have some battles, and who are some names that stand out to you?
I mean, I think we kind of touched on the offensive line a little bit, especially with the right side, that we're kind of figuring out where we're going to have a spot for everyone. So I think the offensive line is definitely going to have guys rotating in and out, especially during spring ball, to see who works best where. Especially with the new offensive line coaches coming in, I think there might be a lot of changes there. I don't see a ton of competition in the wide receiver room. Like, I think, Javon Tracy, Jalen Smith, they're going to be like the 1 and 2 guys in that room. So maybe whoever rotates in on the slot. I also don't see a lot of competition in the running back room. I mean, DT is going to be a workhorse. I think DT is going to have the most enormous bounce back year of all time. And he didn't even, you look at his numbers, they weren't, you take away those injured games, his numbers weren't that down, but I think he's going to have a monster year this year.
Yeah, I disagree with you on the wide receiver part a little bit, but totally with you on the running back room. I'll get back to the wide receiver part in a second, but I think the biggest 2 battles in the offensive side for me are the right tackle because we lost our starter at the right tackle position. So we'll see if a Bennett Warren can step up and be a starter. There's been a number of people talking about Daniel Shipp, or they call him DJ Shipp. He was a redshirt freshman last year, so I guess he'll be a redshirt freshman this year. He was a true freshman last year, but people have been saying that he's been standing out and showing up, and so you got a young guy there battling with a big-time Tennessee transfer coming in. So I think that'll be a good battle on the right tackle side. I think you could make the case that the interior O-line, that Tony Nelson's still going to have a battle, but we'll see what they put together there, so who knows. But my biggest argument for the wide receiver is you brought in a Perry Thompson, who is a high-level transfer portal guy. He is a guy that was a high-level receiver, and so I think he can push for a wide receiver 1 or 2 position. So it'll be curious to see how the Gophers move things around, because I know they said Steptoe, who's the transfer coming in, could play in the slot. I wonder if you could maybe have Jalen Smith with his speed play from the slot, but does that mean you have Perry Thompson and Jalen Smith or Javon Tracy on the outsides with Smith in the slot, or how does that work out? I think there's going to be a little battle for one of those 3 starting wide receiver spots there.
And Perry Thompson is more of he's a speed guy, right? Like he's a deep threat.
No, he's more of a contested catch guy, and he played a lot in the short intermediates within their RPO offense of Auburn. So I think he's more kind of like a Javon Tracy, but maybe even more of a go and get it, win a 50-50 ball type guy.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll see what happens in that wide receiver room. The other position I didn't bring up that I said my 2, and then I just went to right tackle. The other one is tight end. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens at the tight end spot. You've got Pierce Walsh back. They brought in Caden Helms from the transfer portal, and then you've got Roman Voss, who everybody in the state of Minnesota has been talking about since Coy Parrish. Now I think people have talked a little bit less about Roman Voss because they've been pissed about the Coy Parrish stuff now. But we got Roman Voss though. We got Roman Voss. We took him from Bama. He stayed here over Bama. So be happy about you guys who are staying loyal. Roman Voss could get in here. Now it does take time as a young guy playing tight end. And you know this, especially living it through your brother. It's going to take time for him to develop. Could he make his way into some snaps? I know they want him to get there, but it'll all depend on how much he takes in and how much he can chew as he gets going, especially because he is not one of the players that will be coming in this early enrollee period. He will come in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big thing too, as far as how big he is by the time he gets there. But I mean, that's a strong name. That's a strong name. That's a good tight end name. So
hell of an athlete.
I think he's going to be super exciting. Tight end is such a hard position to play coming straight out of high school, especially in the Big Ten. But I mean, if he puts on the weight and, he might be able to see some snaps.
Yeah, here I'm going to make a slight case on why he could maybe be a step ahead of most tight ends coming in as freshman. And it's because he played quarterback in high school. He was the quarterback. He was sometimes a running back. He was a defensive line. So he has a high IQ, especially coming from that quarterback. And I think he ended up winning the Minnesota Player of the Year for Mr. Football. So overall, this dude's got a high IQ when it comes to understanding the field, understanding where he needs to be, understanding what other people are supposed to be doing. So that should help him. If he can do what you said and have some good size, good weight to him, I think he'll pick things up a little bit faster than maybe most tight ends would, because they haven't had to think in that capacity. And now he already has been thinking like that for a couple of years as a quarterback.
No, yeah, that would be awesome. I know I'm super excited to see what he can do. But yeah, that's just a matter of the size. And I was unaware that he was a quarterback as well. So highly intelligent.
Yes. So I did pull up a list before we get to our defensive position battles. I found a list of the guys who are early enrollees in our freshman class. We've got a number of them here. We've got 2 quarterbacks, Brady Palmer and Owen Lansue are both going to be here this starting now. Basically, they're already on campus. So those 2, we've got 1 receiver in Ezekiel Bates coming. We've got Rico Blossingame, who's a wide receiver, Hayden Moore, who's a wide receiver. We've got 4 offensive linemen, including our top 2 in Andrew Trout, and Gavin Meyer, plus Aaron Thomas. I want to give respect there too, because all three of those dudes have been touted as recruits. They're all three coming early as offensive linemen, so you like to see that. And then Lucas Tealsh is also an offensive lineman who will be here early. On the defensive side, you've got two defensive linemen in Anthony Charles and Josiah Anyansi, and then a D tackle in Jeremiah Benson. You've got one linebacker in Hudson Dunn, two cornerbacks in Justin Hopkins and Chance Payne, and two safeties in Trayson Richardson and Jordan Lampkins. Now, a bunch of these dudes are probably going to be guys that, again, are going to take this time to really take advantage, but it's probably going to be guys that end up redshirting or taking a year to really immerse themselves in it all. Maybe 2 or 3 of these guys can start to make a case for being in the 2s or 3s when we get to fall camp and trying to put their name even further on the depth chart. But overall, a lot of these guys are going to be learning, drinking from a fire hose. So it's cool to see these guys here. But I don't have too many high hopes on as far as immediate impact. And then some of the guys that you'd love to see as immediate impact aren't going to be here early. Howie Johnson, the number 1 kid in the state of Minnesota, defensive lineman. And then you've got 4-star edge rusher Aiden H. We'll get there.
Nailed it.
And then Roman Voss. All 3 of those guys aren't going to be here until the summer. So overall, a lot of guys coming in, but we'll see how many overall can make an immediate impact. I would guess maybe 2 players tops can get in as freshmen, and even that might be asking too much.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. I you know me, I'm not dialed into the Minnesota high school football players, but I'm super excited. I mean, you never know what could happen, especially in college football. Anybody can make a difference, even if they are a redshirt freshman or come in and be a true freshman. So,
of all of those guys that are in here early, if I had to put a random shot in the dark on ones who could maybe put their name into some battles,
which these usually hit.
Justin Hopkins, cornerback.
Okay.
And I'm going to say Andrew Trout, offensive lineman. I think those two, if I had to take a swing in the dark without ever watching them play in this spring or anything like that, I'm going to say that. Now we'll see what I say at the end of the spring, but that's my shot in the dark.
I was going to say, usually we do end up looking back and be like, see, I said it.
Yeah, like 2 years too early.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
But let's go to the defensive side with position battles. We've got a couple different areas, but what is your biggest position battles, and who are some names you're maybe excited about there?
I mean, we talked about it. Somebody's got to fill a Coy spot, so I think that's going to be a competition. They bring a lot of guys in. The secondary, I think that is going to be so massive for this football team. I'm excited about what we brought in the D-line, and I think it is going to be a competition, but I think that's a position where we rotate so many guys in that there's going to be a lot of snaps to be had. So if we can get some solid dudes in the secondary, this defense could be dangerous.
Yeah, I agree with you. We rotate D linemen so much. We've talked about a lot of the guys. They'll be battling, but I'm not like, oh, this is down to the wire. Like, they're probably all going to get some sort of reps. You're right on the secondary. We need a starting nickel. We need a starting cornerback too. We need a starting safety. I think Aiden Gooseby is going to be one of those positions. He's got so much experience in this offense. He has
he played well in the last half of the season. He played really well.
Mm-hmm. So I think Gooseby will be in the conversation for one of those 3 starting spots. I know Zach Harden is a guy they really like his upside potential at the safety position. And then you've got guys like Parker Knutson coming in, Mekhi Smith coming in. So we'll see what happens with those dudes. And then the cornerback position, I just said Justin Hopkins, maybe Chance Payne. You've got Aiden West and his brother Elisha West both coming in. So I think we just need someone to be that guy, CB2. And then if other guys are working up and can answer the call, because Nestor will be gone after next year. So even if you're not that guy next year, as long as you can put it together and be that guy the year after, you can still go out there and win a starting spot or put yourself in the lead for that spot heading into the next season. So cornerback, huge one. Safety and nickel, obviously. The last spot for me is the will linebacker next to Maverick Baranowski. Last year was Devin Williams for most of the season. It's probably going to be Matthew Kingsbury heading into this year is my guess. But I'm not ruling out Mason Carrier. I think Mason Carrier is a dude. I've heard some things about Nathan Cleveland. He's a name to know as well. So I think Ethan Stendel might have been a name that I've heard here and there. It's been a while since I've heard that, but Nathan Cleveland, Matthew Kingsbury, and Mason Carrier, I think all have potential to try and push for some linebacker opportunities. And then again, Maverick's gone after next year. So again, who can put their name into conversation for snaps next year and maybe a starter the year after, even if they can't get the starter this year?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Awesome. Well, those are kind of the position battles we've got going on. The last thing that we are going to talk about here before we talk a little bit about the Natty 2 is I want to talk about Drake Lindsey, QB1 Golden Gophers. Now, we're probably going to talk about Drake Lindsey a few different times this offseason because, first of all, we've had two quarterbacks we've been really, really excited about for the past 2 years now, and Max Brosmer and now Drake Lindsey. We've got a full year of seeing Drake Lindsey. Just saw a tweet, Drake Lindsey working out with Quincy Avery the other day. Love to see that. This is a dude who works with Jalen Hurts, CJ Stroud, Justin Fields, Deshaun Watson. Who else? There's been others in that round too. I know some of those quarterbacks, people might be like, oh, well, they're not good or blah, blah, blah. They're all in the league, dog. They're all in the league. Like
top 0.0001 of quarterbacks that are in the world right now.
Right. He's worked with Jordan Love too, so I'm gonna say he's good.
Well, the rules still
Stop hating. Stop hating. So overall, I love to see when Drake Lindsey gets some work in with him. Quincy Avery called him a top 3 quarterback in the Big Ten ahead of the season last year. Now, yes, there were some ups and downs. There were some freshman learning moments last year, but you saw the potential. He can be what Quincy Avery called him. So I'm excited to see what that second year starter jump is going to be for him. How do you feel about Drake Lindsey heading into this next season?
I'm extremely excited. I think we also he has just so much upside, so much potential. And when you see him on, I get it's just social media, but he does seem like he has true relationships with a lot of these guys on the team where, I know he's the starting quarterback, they all do, but it does seem a little bit different. Like, he's a real, like, he's a guy's guy. Like, he's just, he wants to control this team. He wants to take command of this team. I'm super excited about him. I'm happy that we had him so young, especially in this NIL era. Kind of gives us the opportunity to hold on to him too, because guys start to pop off and start to hear their name in the draft room a little bit, and they can they make that decision to go to the league. And in this NIL era, you might be able to say, hey, well, stick around. You're projected to go this high. If he, reaches these moments, you're projected to go here, but, we got this NIL money here for you if you stay another year. So it kind of gives us the opportunity to hopefully retain him as well.
Yeah, and if the Gophers can keep on raising money, I know he loves the program. I know he loves the coaching. So, like, if we can keep on raising some money, I don't see why he wouldn't want to stay in the first place. The biggest thing with a lot of these quarterbacks going in the portal is for money opportunities. So it's like, if we can make a competitive offer here, I don't know why he wouldn't want to stay. But we'll see what happens when that time comes. But as for this upcoming season, I'm really excited by him taking that next step because, like we said last year, there were moments, especially as we started the year, where like this dude doesn't flinch. This dude has everything. He's got every tool. He's got every throw. He's got the arm strength. He's got the IQ. He's making checks. And that's what I think a lot of casual fans, you're going to see a lot of Badger fans, Iowa fans, especially Iowa fans, because that was a very rough game for him. But you're going to see a lot of these dudes that really don't know football. They don't understand the actual intricacies of football that are going to be like, that dude's not even good. Like, he looked horrible. He looked skittish. He looked whatever. That dude is operating an NFL style system as acknowledged by multiple quarterback coach who's coach NFL level guys with the West Coast system they're trying to run. Now, I had mentioned this last off season or during the season last year, but I said, maybe we need to simplify at times because we might not always have the personnel to let those plays develop when it comes to the protection, when it comes to the wide receiver separating, stuff like that. Now, hopefully with these new O-line coach additions, hopefully with some of the transfers, hopefully with Javon and Jalen in the system for the second year now, hopefully those things start to become less of an issue or a detriment, and we can actually get that offense developing and going, because then he's allowed to sit back there and read and react and make different checks at the line of scrimmage. And that's the big thing. That's the thing that a lot of those fans don't understand is we see it all the time. He is legitimately checking out of things and putting this offense into the right position. And that is not something 90% of quarterbacks in college do. And this dude was doing it as a redshirt freshman. So if we can hold on to him and watch the year 2 leap and watch the game slow down, and then hopefully hold on to him and watch that year 3 leap as a redshirt junior ready to take the world by storm, I think the ceiling is massive for Drake Lindsey.
Yeah, that's exactly the point I was going to say, is that he has so much potential and so much upside to him. It's impossible to not be excited about him.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions about him before we move on to the Natty. First things first, what was the thing that impressed you the most about Drake Lindsey in 2025?
It has to be the confidence. Like, he sat in that pocket. I think it was the first even 2 weeks, 3 weeks that we talked about it, where, you kind of are anticipating this freshman quarterback to make those mistakes, to feel that pressure and kind of panic and, make errant throws, or, you kind of like, go to run and go to bail right away. He didn't have that. He sat in there, felt the pressure, and kind of still sits in there, makes a good throw. And then on top of that, I always go back to that first interception. Like, the way a quarterback shakes off that first pick is not that his specific, but the way a quarterback shakes off that first pick says a lot about him, to whether he's going to get back in there and just, be like, okay, it's fine, it's whatever, I'm going to throw a pick. And he did just that. Like, he sits in there and makes the throws, regardless of where the game is at, the ups and downs of the game, he comes out there steady every time.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the only game that really shook him this year was that Iowa game, and he
Yes.
admitted that he had been on another podcast talking about the Iowa game, and he just talked about how like they were doing things that he had never seen on film before. And I mean, like, classic Iowa, they always find a way, but they were so locked in. Nobody had a misassignment. Nobody, like, they were showing different drops and things like that, to the point where he would throw something and then all of a sudden it would drop right into place where they wanted it to go. Like,
Yeah.
and it was like he had never seen things like that before, and he was rattled. And he talked about how he was still a little bit rattled in the Michigan State game from the Iowa game. But then it came down to the end of the Michigan State game and we had to score. And he was like, I just stopped thinking and I just started playing ball. And that's where you saw that 2-minute drive where we drove the entire field. He put a dime on Lemecki Brockington between a couple different defenders. That's the part that most impressed me in the 2025 season, are those moments where he made plays that you're like, how in the absolute hell did he make that pass? Like, only special talents can make those type of passes. That Lemecki throw in Michigan State. I think of the bowl game in the fade route he threw to Jalen Smith in the end zone, where he took like a 2-step drop and just dropped it right in there before Jalen Smith even made a cut on the ball. He had it exactly where he needed it to be. Those type of throws, I was like, oh, we got a dude. Like, yes, he's learning. Yes, he's a freshman. Yes, there's growing pains. Yes, Iowa was rough, but we got a dude.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Now, on the flip side of that, I do want to know, what do you think is the thing he needs the most improvement on heading into 26?
It's tough. I think you might have to go first. As far as, like, I mean, it's little things, like, but it's things that I don't know if they're necessarily on him, or if it's the coaching staff and the positions that they put him in, where, when we talked about it, like, okay, maybe at some point this offense need to be simplified and he's making these checks. And I don't think that's on him necessarily, to where if he's checking out of something that, is wrong, or he checks into something that's wrong, I don't know if that's on him. But I mean, I guess, yeah, that's what it would have to be, is that type of decision making. But, we put him in this position sometimes where we're like, okay, maybe this is a little too much.
Yeah, he's learning from experience, so it's tough to like put too much on him on that front. But I feel you.
Exactly.
I think for me, the biggest thing he needs to improve upon is, I think at times he needs to think less and just go play ball. This is a sport he loves. We talked about, I just mentioned how he had mentioned in an interview, like that the Iowa game rattled him because he was thinking a lot and like hadn't seen things like that. And then it carried over to Michigan State because he just didn't want to put the ball in harm's way. He didn't want to have a potential turnover, things like that. So he started to take safe routes or throw it out of bounds or things like that. But when it came down to the moment where it's like, you can't think about it, you just got to go play ball. And we had the most fantastic drive of the entire game. You saw multiple times like that where the Gophers needed it. In the Rutgers game, where it was just like, we need a score here. And he went down and got, like, you know what I mean? In those moments where he says, screw it, like, it's time to play ball. Like, this is what I like to do. And I'm going to take some risks. I'm going to take some throws that I know I can make. Maybe they're ill-advised. Maybe they have a chance at turning it over, but I know I can hit that shot. Do that a little bit more. Find those moments a little bit more. Now, I'm not saying go rogue and just do it. Then you turn into Dylan Raiola. Then you look like Dylan Raiola out there running around with your head chopped off, just throwing the ball as you're falling and things like that. Ain't nobody want that. Don't nobody want that. But what I'm saying is find your spots to just say, let's go get it.
I'm also remembering a huge thing he has to fix that I never want to see again. Got to work on the diving towards the pylon. That was the worst thing I've ever seen. He can't do that. Don't do that again. I've never seen anybody dive at a pylon like that. He crouched at it. It was weird.
All right. Now let's move to the Natty. The last thing, we won't talk Gophers here, but I want to know your thoughts on this national championship. We've got Indiana versus Miami. I feel like it's a win-win game for me right now. Now, here overall, if Miami wins this game, I feel like their fan base is going to be the absolute most obnoxious fan base you have ever seen, because they're going to be like, we're back and we're never giving it back and blah, blah. Like, you're going to hear that.
Yep.
But for me, it's a no-lose game because we either have a Big Ten winner with a coach I like, with a program that's been down bad, and like you see them kind of come and take their rise, or our former DC, who I have nothing but love for, goes out and wins a natty in his first year after leaving the Gophers. And this is exactly why he took that opportunity, was to put himself in a position like this, and could be a head coach here in the near future too. So like, I think it's win-win from my perspective.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the I don't have a rooting favor, other than the team that I put my money on. That is my favorite team of all time, whichever team that I do that for, which will be Indiana. I think it's Indiana no matter what. They are just a dominant team. But I think it's also, you always want to cheer for your conference. It's exciting for the Big Ten to win, and the storyline behind Indiana is incredible, to where if they win this, like, there's a real potential that we're looking back like, hey, was this one of the best college football teams of all time? Like, it's very real possibility. And like, the story alone is one of the greatest sports stories of all time. Like, to completely turn a program around in 2 years is unreal.
That's literally like some CFB,
it's a Disney movie.
Sports, like, you go and you pick the worst team you possibly can, and you're like, I'm going to bring them back. And you go and you have the best recruiting class, and you turn your 68 overall freshman quarterback into like a 90 overall in one off season, and you're just balling out, and you win the natty in year 2. It's Kurt Signetti said, dude, I'm doing that in real life. What up? Like,
he literally is. It's absolutely the whole thing. I give it less than 10 years, and there's a Disney movie about this. Like, this is like, it's an incredible story.
Yeah, I'm with you. I hope that Indiana wins because, again, I love to see the Big Ten continuing to build up and show like this is the conference. And look, the SEC people have been down bad. They're like, oh, like, no, we're the best still, blah, blah, blah. Look, 3 straight years of no SEC in the title game and 3 straight years of Big Ten winners. There ain't no debate no more if that happens. There ain't no debate at all.
That's a pattern. That's a pattern, buddy.
That's a trend.
It's a trend, yeah.
All right, man. Well, best of luck to both of the teams. Hopefully they stay healthy. Hopefully it's a good game. Like, I don't want to see a blowout. Even if Indiana is a wagon, I don't want to see a blowout. I want to see a close game. And hopefully everyone stays healthy, especially the guys that everybody. I was going to say especially the guys that have league potential, but I want everybody to stay.
You won't put an asterisk on it.
All right, man. Any final words of the people?
No, just enjoy one more college football game, everyone. One more college football game. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Be kind to each other.
Yes. One more college football game, a couple more NFL games. I hope the Bears lose because I cannot see them go any further. And have a good one. Be sure to hit subscribe over on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast for the Go for Broke podcast. We're going to be doing some listener mailbags here in the off season. We're going to be doing maybe some talkbacks if y'all want to send some voice messages of your questions, and we'll put them on the show. We can get creative with this thing.
I
But
like
we
that.
can't do it if y'all don't start hitting subscribe. Don't start sharing with your friends. We got to keep building this thing up. But we love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Row the boat. Sky Ma. Go Gophers as always. And please don't forget to hit subscribe.